Hi, I want to talk to you about sobriety and if it's the same as recovery. And it isn't. So I want to explain what the difference is to that. I met a guy who was 30 years sober. He attended Alcoholics Anonymous faithfully, but had never done a step study. This guy is sober, but I did not recognize any recovery skills. In fact, he acted like a drunk when I was talking to him. Only it was worse because he knew what he was doing and he'll remember everything the next day. This guy was extremely difficult to deal with, and I was glad when our deal was over. Fortunately, I only had to deal with him for probably about an hour, and I was done with him. Sobriety is great, but recovery takes you to a level that is life changing. Recovery gets you to the core issues that often lead people to addictions in the first place. Recovery is for anyone dealing with a hurt habit or hangup, while sobriety is your willpower to keep off your drug or sin of choice. Just because you don't partake in your activity doesn't result in peace, joy, and serenity. As a matter of fact, you could be a very miserable person if you just quit what you're addicted to, but you don't do any recovery. Some addicts who are enjoying sobriety are pretty difficult to deal with, like the gentleman that I was talking about. And they were easier to deal with when they were using. And that's a sad thing to say because you don't want to tell an addict that. But in reality, it's true. Sobriety without recovery typically keeps the addict slave to all the underlying causes that came with the addiction without the release of the addiction. Now, I once had someone quit drinking for me, not for themselves or for their relationship with God. Our relationship was doomed because she never forgave me. She actually resented me for the loss of alcohol in her life because she made the decision to quit drinking because at the time she didn't want to lose me and she was too weak to not to do it for herself. She should not have quit drinking for me, but she should have quit drinking for herself or her relationship with Christ, and more importantly, her relationship with Christ. When she quit drinking, our relationship got better for a very short period of time. I would say a matter of a week or two. And then our relationship went downhill. It really struggled and it never recovered. I ended up walking away from that because there was no hope for reconciliation. I even came back a couple times later and tried again, but it was in the same spot that it had always been. Now, that's been several years ago that happened. The good news is that I'm fairly confident that she's still not drinking today, which is a blessing. But the bad news is, and I don't know for sure because I'm not around her, I don't talk to her. I've only seen her a couple of times, but I'm not so sure she is getting recovery. I would say she's probably not gotten recovery. You know, addictions often are not the primary issue that's at hand, but a symptom of a deeper issue. And if those issues are not addressed, then the addict will find different ways to release their anxiety, anger, and depression. And I know that everybody goes to AA. You know, if you're an alcoholic, you go to AA to quit drinking. But there are things far deeper that you get. And being somebody who was involved in Al-Anon and attended Al-Anon and participated, I would watch people. I would watch from our recovering alcoholics come in from time to time and join our Al-Anon meeting, and it would be interesting to see their response because as they listen to friends and family of alcoholics, they would get a different perspective on how alcohol impacted their family, their friends, from people that didn't have any skin in the game with them directly. And it would be like a light bulb coming on. And so, in reality, if you're an alcoholic going to AA, maybe you need to step up and attend some Al-Anon meetings so that you can get a different perspective and you can hear from people and what the impact is of what your situation did with other people. It'll open your eyes. We need to confess and confront that which haunts us so that we can be free to live a happy and healthy life. And that's difficult for people who've had hurts, habits, and hangups, even if they quit their addiction. They still have that resentment and animosity because they no longer had the release that they once had in using their addiction as an outlet. And so their issues are often unresolved, and that can build frustration over time. That can build difficulties in relationships and with their family and friends. That can cause them to be defensive, even lie, and hide behind that. And sometimes the person who has the hurt, habit, or hang up doesn't even know what the issues are. They can be in denial of what those issues are, and so it never gets brought out, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so, going through a step study gives them the opportunity to overcome that. And without a step study, without doing the actual work, you don't get to release the underlying causes and to make your life better. It might seem fine because you don't have to worry about getting pulled over for drunk driving. You're not going to have that happen. Maybe you're not going to get into a bar fight and so on, but you're still going to have that intensity, or, well, I shouldn't say you're still going to, but you could have that intensity that causes fights and struggles inside personal relationships that you have. So, we need to confess and confront that which haunts us so that we can be free to live a happy and healthy life. And, again, that's difficult for people who've had hurts, habits, and hangups, even if they quit their addiction. And they just no longer have that release, and so they just have to find a way to get that out and release it to your higher power, especially if you're a Christian, that you can go to Christ and you can give those problems to Christ. You can work through them. There are many programs that you can take advantage of, and check with your church. If it's alcohol, you can go to an AA meetings, and I strongly recommend that you shop AA meetings because they're not all the same. If you are impacted by other people, I suggest you use Al-Anon, that you shop Al-Anon meetings to see what's available to you. And there's Freedom in Christ that you can do. Neil Anderson's Freedom in Christ. And I'm working with men right now. I'm taking several men through that. As a matter of fact, I'm working right now with 4 different guys every week right now, walking them through that. And they're getting ready to take other men through Freedom in Christ. And I'm seeing phenomenal success and life-changing events happening for these men. They're getting their feet on the ground, and while they still have the chaos in their lives, they still have the struggles in their lives, they're feeling more confident, more secure, and they're being honest and opening up. So if you're a Christian, I would look into that. If you're not a Christian, that's probably not going to work for you because You have to have faith. You have to have hope. You have to believe in Christ uh, to get a grasp on what freedom in Christ says. But there is 12 steps. You know, you can do the AA Big Book. I did the AA Big Book study using AA, even though I never had a problem with alcohol. I just inserted my issues, codependencies that I had, and I worked through them and I wrote it all out. And then I ended up sponsoring people. And that really changed, that really took an edge off in my life. And it allows me to feel good about myself, to have self esteem, and to have confidence. And quite frankly, I don't think I could get online and talk to you and put videos out on YouTube if I had not done that step study, because my confidence wouldn't have been there. My security, being able to take criticism online from people that disagree with me, would not be there. And now I actually welcome it. There's a couple of reasons why I'm able to do that, and number one is I know what other people think of me is not my business. Number two is that a lot of times the people that give negative comments back, they're hurting, and I can respond. And even though they might attack me, if I respond and I treat them with respect, I often find that I create a new dialogue and a conversation that's going back and forth, and the tone changes. And so I have new skills based on doing a step study. Now, friends and family of addicts who find sobriety may even find it more difficult to deal with the addict once they're sober, as their life with the addict may not improve, and in some cases it gets worse. That is very true. Sometimes it's easier to deal with an alcoholic when they're drinking than when they're not drinking, because they tend to remember things. And so friends and families of addicts would benefit from doing programs such as Al-Anon, which is specifically for friends and families of alcoholics, but you can also use it for other things. So the principles in Al-Anon will work with other addictions, hurts, and habits as well, and they address codependencies and so on with that. And so you don't need to be related to an alcoholic to benefit from Al-Anon. And I just encourage you to look to those things, to look to those resources to help change your life. If you have codependencies, if you think you're a codependent, I would look towards a 12-step program to help you work through those things. And I've seen so many people, they've just changed their life and they've gotten control of what they can control. They know what they can't control, and they develop a new sense of wisdom. And so it allows you to take a step back and not take the burdens on things that you just can't control, that you just aren't responsible for. It allows you to move forward, and it allows you to start having healthy relationships with people. It opens the door for you to have blessings like you've never had before. And I've just seen it happen over and over and over again. I've seen so many examples of people that are there. And if you're a Christian, it allows you to let God into your life and let him really get to work. And then you can start doing his will in your life and start to understand that. And it's a wonderful experience to do that. So I would really recommend and encourage you to look at the Big Book, to look at an Al-Anon program, to look at Freedom in Christ, or maybe even a Celebrate Recovery program if you have hurts, habits, or hangups, and to walk through those and try and find some good people to work with. Now, there are people that are out there that are doing those programs that aren't doing such a great job. So what you need to do is if you're not comfortable with one of the programs, keep on looking, because you'll likely run into a group that fits, that you feel comfortable to work with, and that will make a huge difference for you in your life. And I just really encourage that. It's made a huge difference in my life. Yes, it's taken several years to work through, but it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it because now I know that I get to live the rest of my life where I don't have all these things hindering me or holding me back. I don't have the fears that I had before, and I see the same thing in other people. And I get to sit down and, like I told you, I'm working with 4 guys right now, which is a lot to work with. But I sit down and I work with other men who are growing in their relationships, and I help them by being an example for them. And I'm seeing them change their lives so that they can go and help other people. And that's a wonderful experience. That's a great thing to be able to give back and to be able to share with other people. And so I hope you'll start looking. Now, if you don't know where to find a program, just leave a comment on this video. I'll respond, and I'll give you some links to some resources in your area to help you search out related things that will help you to move forward. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. And please subscribe if you found this helpful. And otherwise, have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.